Did they already like drill the holes?
Nope,
in it and everything?
that's what he's doing right now.
Oh my.
Well, that's like all the tissue back and then he'll drill the holes.
Oh
You repaired it?
You're not going to see any blood or anything.
No, I know, but it's my baby.
I know.
My arm hurts.
He'll drill one side, he'll put an instrument in, and then he'll drill to that instrument on the other side.
And who are all the people behind him?
Well, that's Dr. Jordan that's just watching, and
Okay.
then he's got 2 fellows in the room with him, and then my 2 staff on the other side.
Excellent. And they're the best of the best.
They're the working ones.
And what's that? That looks painful.
He's just, all he's doing, he has that instrument's very small, and it's sharp on the ends, and he's just taking that instrument and he's smoothing out that tunnel. It's got 2 little sharp edges on it.
Sure.
So he's just smoothing that tunnel out so when he pulls the graft through, it doesn't get caught.
That's a good thing. And they already took that tissue
Oh,
out?
yes, ma'am. They've
Where-
already harvested the tendon.
And where
yes.
is it?
It's probably on the back table. You can't see it.
Good.
She's actually pulling the graft.
Oh, he's pulling it through?
No,
Here in this
Oh.
basin right here.
Oh,
she
right
just
there.
picked it up.
Oh. And they tied strings to it?
They'll pull it through the bone
It's
with
like
the
pulling
strings.
cable. There it
There
goes.
it goes.
It's like pulling
He's
cable in a
showing,
data
he's
center.
showing you.
Oh, okay.
He's showing you the tendon. That looks really good.
It's like pulling cable in a data center, honey.
All right.
I have to think of it that way. I'm a computer person, not a biology person. Okay, so he's pulling it through. Is that
He's
the
getting-
ulnar side or is that the lower or
He
the
is
upper?
on the lower side right now. So he's basically going to pull it through both those
All right.
both sides of that tunnel, the first tunnel he drilled.
Right.
So he just did that. So you
Oh,
see he just
wow.
pulled that through. That's the tendon. He'll leave that. He'll push the tendon up that way, and then he'll clean back some more and suture that down, and then you'll see him do it on the other side. And Jeremy's back, so I'm going to leave you guys with him.
All right, thank you.
You don't have to watch.
No,
You can
I
watch
want
the
to.
repo man over there if you want.
Yeah, no. I've never been this kind of person, but
So what you're seeing now is the repair. This is the repair portion. So they're repairing her native ligament.
Okay. So that ligament, her ligament is what we see right there.
Yeah, kind of the
Right
pink,
on the knee.
little pink just at
Pinkish
the base of
underneath.
those. Yep.
so
Yeah.
he sewed it together? Is that what
Correct.
he did?
Yeah. Well, these injuries are undersurface injuries. You keep seeing this word undersurface.
Yeah.
So when you look at it from the outside, it may not even necessarily look damaged. So they literally split it, go through it, and look at it from the backside. On that underneath side is where the injuries typically are.
So that little T that we saw hanging off was the outside, not the underside.
No, it was the underside.
That
Where
was
it
the
was,
underside,
it was delaminated,
yeah.
peeling off the bone.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was it. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what they. So
That's the
he-
purpose of the graft, is to reinforce that. Because see, we can't
sew that.
we
back
can't
to the
sew
bone.
her ligament back to the bone, correct? But they can kind of take off the frayed, kind of tattered, side of it. And then when they put the graft in, the graft is anchoring it back to the bone.
And then do they sew that little flap back to
They do.
hers?
They do. That's what we're seeing now, is the sewing kind of repairing that ligament.
Yeah.
I'm gonna split this off in 5-minute segments, honey.
That's fine. I'll put it on iMovie so that we can put it on.
Why don't you pause now, because we're about to start drilling the tunnels again,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a cool part to have on video.
Okay, let me stop.
When I worked in pharmaceuticals, it was better than medical devices because I didn't have to do this.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have to see the nasty stuff.
No, we did dissolution.
Just major office calls and
We did like the dissolution testing and all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
I'm
Yeah, but that was pills and water.
yeah.
Right. It's not a blood, guts, and gore.
He's the blood, guts, and gore.
Yeah, I worked in a lab. I'm
So
a
now they're
medical
moving
Oh, is that
technologist.
right? Okay.
And I also was a diener. I used to be an assistant
Now they moved her
traumatologist.
so they could get to the other side of the elbow. Is that what
Exactly.
they did? Oh, that poor thing.
Just
Oh, poor Sophia.
Actually, I'm not even sure how much they moved her. They moved they moved the light.
Mhm.
No, like they
Unfortunately,
moved her
they
arm a
can't-
little.
Did they
yeah.
move it some? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
Well,
they
like,
did.
just a little bit. So why do they wrap her hand up like that?
Just because the amount of bacteria and things that can be under your fingernails,
Oh, okay.
we just cover that whole area, so it lowers the risk of contaminating the sterile area.
I'm
One.
all for that.
Two, there's a lot of sharp instruments being passed back and forth. You don't want to catch a finger that's flailing around, you know.
Yeah, I suppose when you're playing with the nerves. You did that for us?
That might be, she did. That might be a little better view. I don't know if that'll. It's about the same distance. It looks like it's a little more clear. I don't know what we all think.
Please, Gail, come to the board.
You mean this camera?
Yeah, well, that other screen there, it's the same image. She just moved it around there. Notice the window. If you look at it at an angle, it's a little foggy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's those argon
There's
windows.
just all on windows,
Yeah.
yeah. So, see, that one is frosted.
We use those in our data centers too.
Oh, okay.
For like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oregon has
There's the
them.
drill.
Oregon has them in treaty rivers.
We had looked them up one day when they were talking put them in here or whatever, and there was a nightclub in like New York or Chicago or somewhere. That when you walk into the restrooms, it's all glass, and you just like see all the toilets, and it was like the first kind of whatever. It was like, okay, I'm just gonna like do my business in front of everybody. Well, apparently when you turn the lock, they smoke.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm gonna need one of those in
I
my
heard
house.
about that.
I'm gonna need one of those in my house.
I'll do a few more of these elbows you can afford.
Well, unfortunately, they don't let me have none of that money. Very little of that
No,
money.
no, no, I'm not just kidding. Hey, he's the best. He deserves it.
He's the best. You know, surprisingly enough, too, what he gets on these is not the lion's share.
No, it's not.
The facility gets all the money.
Mhm.
2/3 of it's the facility. But he's also on contract. He has a base salary.
That's cool.
Mhm.
So even when we do 20, it doesn't matter. He gets paid the same.
That's cool.
And it's well. I've seen the tax forms.
Oh,
They take
he's
good-
in,
they take
he's
good
in
care of it.
fortune. His net
Yeah.
worth is published, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that sweet.
Yes,
I might take you up on that if you have bottled water.
Yeah, actually, there's a mini fridge just at the over the counter desk. So they have, you think if you had a block of wood, if you're drilling 3 holes down to a common point in the center, that's kind of the purpose of that little hand reamer, is to put in there to make sure all those tunnels are connecting and communicating with each other. So we're going to see, you've seen the way they drilled, they have the one going up, we have one coming down, we have one coming up this way, so it's kind of like a capital Y.
Okay.
Lying on its side.
So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3.
Yes. So
So
what you'll see is you'll see the two ends where we already looped it through the other side. Both of those ends of that graph are going to go up through the stem of the Y, and they're going to fork away from each other and come out or meet on the condyle in 2 separate places. And then they'll fold them over, and it's essentially it's a modified
Okay.
figure 8.
you could see the
I know,
2
right?
streams of saline
Exactly.
popping out.
See it squirt out there?
Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
So
right
he's
there.
cleaning it?
And just
Yeah.
flushing the debris now before they pass the graft
Oh, the debris from the drill?
from the drill, correct?
Our coach is gonna love this.
That's the suture passer he has in his hand there. It works much like one of those needle threaders.
Oh, yeah.
Those little aluminum needle threaders. It's
Yeah.
basically the same kind of concept.
Ryan Welke to receive, please. Ryan Welke.
Here
So,
comes the ligaments.
Dr. Andrews is a pretty big event, too, right?
He is, yeah. It's he's streamlined his practice. He's definitely slowed, which he just turned 74 this year, so he's slowed a bit. But this is our big volume surgery. This is what he's known for. Which obviously seasonally we do a lot of other stuff too. But
He's the best of the best.
we do about 130, 140 of these a year.
That's so much more than so many other people.
So much more. It's, I was actually talking to one of there's only a few guys in the country that, you know, in my mind being in the biz, in my mind there's only a few guys that do a lot of these, including Dr. Andrews. The other two are Dr. Altchek up in New York and Dr. Elitrosh in LA. And we, ironically enough, a couple years ago had a fellow that trained with Dr. Altchek, who in my mind was kind of the number 2 guy from the volume standpoint. And I had asked him, how many of these y'all do a year? And he's like, yeah, we probably did. You know, the fellows are with them for a year. He said we probably did 45, 50, 55, 60, something like that. I'm like, really? He's like, well, yeah, that's a lot. I'm like, no, I mean, that's a ton. When you talk about even your normal sports guy, that's a ton. He's like, well, how many did you guys do? I'm like, we did 142 last year. And like, his mouth just kind of, like, are you kidding me?
So why would
But that's
anybody
what-
go anywhere else?
Well, I mean, there's there's political reasons. There's this guy's Dr. Altchek in New York is the team physician for the Mets, so pretty much all the Mets go to him. Dr. Alex Sachinelli is the team doctor for the Dodgers. And then it seems like the West Coast guys are more comfortable on the West Coast, so a lot of them go back there and let him do them. A lot of the guys that are from the Northeast, they're thinking, well, I'm gonna have a guy that's in New York doing them versus a guy that's in Florida, some cowtown doctor. I mean, there's reasons. There's actually a couple docs that we trained over in Texas too. The Rangers and the Astros doctors are
Did
both
it get
guys that just
stuck
trained.
somewhere?
It may have.
Looks like
I just saw her get a little, for lack of better term, some WD-40 right there to see. She just put some lubricant in there.
it's amazing. I wonder it's gonna hold. So now, when they move the Alden Grove, is she gonna be able to feel her elbow, or is it?
Yes, there's a sensory component to it. Just like if you get your funny bone is your ulnar nerve.
Yeah.
If she has symptoms, are more likely going to be in her pinky and the pinky side of her ring finger is the sensory component of the ulnar nerve.
But is she still gonna be able to have feeling there?
Yeah, eventually. Well, she may have a little numbness and tingling just a couple days, just
Okay.
because we've been handling it.
Yeah.
But it's transient. It'll come back. She'll be fine.
So she won't lose feeling on her elbow.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. Sometimes they do the ulnar
There it
nerve.
is.
There it went. The ulnar nerve itself doesn't have that sensory component at the elbow level. There's some other nerves that control the sensory area there. Now, obviously, then just making this incision, sometimes you'll cut those very superficial, skin kind of nerves, which are almost impossible to see without a microscope. So she may have some kind of transient, kind of odd feeling, sensation in her skin, but it'll resolve.
All right, and then we have a family vacation